Clay. Clay is a mineral with a crystal structure, but the individual crystals are too tiny to be seen with the naked eye or even through a powerful magnifying glass. Most people would describe clay as a mud deposited by rivers in lakes and the sea. However, before it can be thus transported, it originates as a pure mineral in decomposed igneous rocks. The decomposed rock is no longer the hard igneous rock of the original, but is a soft disintegrating rock, which, if exposed, is weathered and washes away. During transportation by a river, or by ice or sea, the clay is ground, picks up impurities, loses associated minerals, and is finally settled into areas of similar particle size. The result is a clay stratum of progressive variation from fine to coarse, with possible change of colour and composition also. This is a typical clay bank. Sedimentary clays rarely show a uniformity over a wide area. This is why blending of different clays is necessary to keep a constant product. The gault is a sequence of clays, mudstones and thin siltstones with bands of phosphatic nodules of middle and upper Albian age. Its outcrop stretches south-westward from East Anglia through Wessex to West Dorset and surrounds the Weald in an arc from northeast Kent westwards through Surrey to Hampshire, where it turns south and returns eastward through West and East Sussex. The gault clay thickens to the south and reaches its maximum development of over 100 metres in the Weald and thins to the west as it passes into Hampshire and Dorset. The gault clay contains both clay and non-clay minerals, and its distribution is fairly uniform. Calcite is present as fossil debris and as a cementing agent. The gault is more calcareous in the northeast than in the south and west. The major clay minerals present are kaolinite, illite and smectite. Two main clay mineral assemblages have been identified: kaolinite illite and smectite illite. Higher concentrations of smectite have been found in fissures and in the zones around shear surfaces. Pinching. Forming a pot by the compressing action of fingers and thumb. The pot grows from a ball of plastic clay by pushing a hole in it and progressively thinning the walls. The pot is slowly rotated in one hand as it is pinched with the other. A soft plastic clay is required. Coarse clays can be used because there is no friction between clay and hands that would tear the clay. If coarse clays cannot be persuaded into pots, their workability for pinching can be improved by a generous addition of bentonite. Some clays become very dry and require to be worked wet. With water, the pinching action becomes a stroking action, and it is probable that throwing developed from this technique. Large pinch pots are enlarged by further beating with a paddle and anvil. Two pots can be joined rim to rim to form a larger pot. The idea is simple, and pinching is often used as an introduction to pottery making. The product is the direct result of the concentration and action of the maker. No tools intervene. Mastery of the technique promotes close observation of the clay's properties and the effects of the hand's actions. With development of skill, one can make pots of great sensitivity. Lines of poplar, paid for, left for 20 years, their cyan blue plastic protectors grown into their roots and bark like wounds. Whitethroat, goldcrest twittering, stepping through high clattering leaves, blackberry thickets, shelter and warbler unknown, shieldbug mistaken for a red dock, spotted second, matching and blending itself perfectly. My brain is fugged. I'm homeschooling and coping with lockdown and family. My MS corrals me into days of extreme lethargy with nothing to spare, but I still want to try to find an outlet. with a head full of disparate and sometimes insistently coherent and potential thoughts for a piece. Doubts and practicalities weigh me down. It's easier to give up. Easy life, no complications, except the above. Chance. Rain. The clay is below. We are above with all our new layers.
We are
The
from
horror
clay.
scene of good and bad, beauty and destruction.
Clay is the landscape. Clay is where we live, where we used to live, how we live, how we farm, how we eat, what we see, what we do, animals we see, crops we grow. Fleur is thinking, on the move, walking, looking for the tiniest thing in the ground, the bright red rock.
This is all 1 mile or less from our old land, and we never walked here. Stony Lane joins this end to our road, and we never completed its length. Most of the time at Golder Farm, I was not well enough to walk this far. I appreciate now how much better I am. Even if I hate the fatigue, at least I can explore, and it's good to be back and see it with fresh eyes, nearly 2 decades on.
We'll have to see.
Burnishing. Polishing leather hard clay by rubbing with a hard object, like a smooth pebble, the back of a spoon, or a strip of spring steel. Pinched and coiled pots are often burnished. Thrown pots can be burnished after turning by reversing the spin of the wheel and laying flat the torn roughness created by the turning tool. For decorative purposes and to give a hot, heavy work. Sun, sweat, and an endless supply of clay to pound, pummel, and reduce. Reduction to its first principles, though not microscopic. As I pound, the Gault laminations flatten and shine. Silica glitters and crushes with a crack. I save tiny round pebbles from an ancient river long buried by land. Shelly pieces that lived millennia ago, washed up on an estuary in the middle of the Cretaceous, Oxfordshire. Extracted to the noise of new builders, machines, munching mowers and chainsaws. The new normal is noisy. 2 hours of mesmeric work leaves me a little pile dust in the bottom of my bucket. Bucket, dust, sieved and ready to make into clay again. Cyclic until fired. I've hit a wall, metaphorically anyway. The diggers are still digging. The noisy new normal is on its daily pattern. My ears are offended by saw and jet engine, tracked vehicle and shouts. The softness of those days where excitement was hearing other people's voices and the neighbours clapping, the chickens clucking, blackbirds chattering. I've squidged, shaped, rendered, pounded, riddled, shaped again, and my path is meandering in an uncomfortable way. Too many ideas and inputs often foil me at this stage. I begin to worry, self-criticise, and stop enjoying the process. Seeing the wood for the trees, is that how it goes?
I think I
Anyway,
found the
It's
path.
that search for
Over
the
there.
refinement of the initial flood of activity, efforts and brute forums into flowing cohesiveness.
Deep
The answer
ones.
is in there. The result evades me just now. Smashed first 3 pots. Felt odd, then quite good. Firing. The process of conversion from clay to pot. It involves heat of at least 600 degrees centigrade. Clay disintegrates in water, but is changed by firing into a stone-like material unaffected by water, and in some cases impervious to water. The change is called the ceramic change. Other changes occur during the firing, e.g. organic matter is burned away, the colour changes, a layer of glass is fused onto the surface. The sun is on my back. I've arrived. 4 precious days of almost uninterrupted creativity leaves me energised, delirious with the pleasure of time at last being spacious and flexible. As I squeeze odd shapes with the last of the clay between my hands and fingers, I think. I embrace the noises around me. They no longer matter. My end point is not to finish, but just to carry on. Eager not to lose my grasp on this state where the mind, hands and time are somehow melded together into one. I carry on.